Hello, I am back with my second lecture for the Kulkarni Chalukya YouTube channel on art history and various aspects of the Indian art, visual art, and my research about the Indian heritage, Indian culture, and Indian art. Friends, today I would like to present you with the development of the early Narasimha sculpture in Indian art. Narasimha, the fourth avatara of Vishnu, the fourth avatar of Vishnu in the Dashavatara concept, has been favored by early artists and also the artists of the later period. And in Indian art, both in sculpture and painting, is one of the popular images that has been represented in a highly creative manner, in a most elaborate manner during the late medieval period. But interestingly, the early sculptures are simple and very beautiful aesthetically. The moment we use the term Narasimha, we always feel that the form of Narasimha is always fearsome, or the Ugra, or the malevolent in its representation. Of course, when we look at the history or the story of the birth of Narasimha form is can be ascribed to the popular story of the Bhagavata, that is Prahlada Charita. The manifestation of Vishnu as Narasimha, the Simha and human form combination, as he appeared in in the form of this particular form and also appeared from the pillar uh, to protect his child deity, child devotee Prahlada, and to kill Hiranyakashipu. There are many stories in the post-combat or pre-combat of Narasimha and Hiranyakashipu. Artists also very imaginatively represented these themes within their spheres. So the Narasimha sculptures, when we look from the early Indian art point, not definitely manifested in the Ugra form. They are vice versa. They are opposite side, as we come across only the benign form of Narasimha. It appears that possibly by about 450 onwards, we get to see the Ugra form of the Narasimha images. So when we make a query, if the Narasimha Ugra forms were not represented in the early period, whether the story of the Ugra attitude of the Narasimha was not there, or whether they purposefully try to create the benign form of the Narasimha as he completed the combat and he is in a Shanta form, also now ready to bestow the devotees. It appears it is quite factual and also true. So the combating examples or the combating nature of the divinity, though appears right from the beginning of the creation of the avatara, so gradually he becomes completely pacified by his own devotee Prahlada and began to bestow the devotees. So today I would like to take you through a small walk of sculptures from my state, that is Karnataka. Very interesting, very curious. And also I have certain comparative examples from other part of the country also. So when we speak about Vishnu and also Narasimha, the Vishnu's manifestation of Narasimha has been portrayed in many stotras and mantras and Puranic lore. The one of the stotra of Narasimha reads like as you see in the on the screen: Ugram Veeram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvato Mukham Narasimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrutyur Mrutyam Namamyaham. I bow down to Lord Narasimha, who is ferocious and heroic like Lord Vishnu, He is shining from every side. He is terrific, auspicious, and death of the death in personified. So, the image of Narasimha, which has come down to us in literature initially as a combating deity only, as a combating deity only. But only after the completion of the combat, Narasimha's image become completely a Shanta Swarupa Murti, or a benign form image. So today we look at the some of the benign form images and that important texts like the Valmiki Ramayana, Mahabharat, Harivamsha, Vishnu Purana, Vishnu Dharmottara Purana, Bhagavata Purana, Agni Purana, Brahmanda Purana, Vayu Purana, Brahma Purana, and Kurma Purana, Matsya Purana, Padma Purana, Shiva Purana, and Skanda Purana. Also, the Narasimha Purana, which goes in the name of the Lord Narasimha, have delineated exuberantly the all acts of the god Narasimha. So the Narasimha representation as the most fearsome the deity, the opposite of it as a completely Ashanta Swarupa Murti, as I mentioned you. So the Narasimha sculptures in Karnataka appeared in two forms in the early period. All the sculptures of the early period Narasimha in Karnataka are ascribed to the early Kadambas of Banavasi, early Kadamba rulers of Banavasi, who ruled Banavasi region from 320-25 CE to around 550 CE. Nearly 250 to 275 years of their rule possibly re-established the Vedic rites, Vedic faith, and also popularized, which is also identified as the Hindu Renaissance era. So the pan-Indian development can also be seen in this region of the Karnataka, the Uttara Kannada, the North Karnataka region, where the Kadambas ruled and also began to propagate the Vedic faith, and also the images that have been transformed and represented in the form of these examples. Not only Narasimha, there are other examples like Ganesha, Skanda, Vishnu, Harihara, Durga Bhagavati, and Mahishamardini. All such images have been developed during this particular period. So the early examples of the Kadamba period can be ascribed to the zoomorphic form of the Narasimha. Zoomorphic is nothing but the animal form. This particular example is found in Kodlu forest of Tirthahalli Taluk in Shimoga district. So the early examples of the zoomorphic Narasimha have already been found in Kadamba period. Kadambas also had a sway over Goa region. Near Goa, a place called Norva, which has the early cave temples of the the Kadambas of Banavasi. The Norva cave also has a seated lion image, which has been identified as the earliest example depicting the zoomorphic Narasimha. So the Narasimha association with the Kadamba period is also reflected in their the royal crest or the royal emblem. It appears the Narasimha was already a popular form in the form of the lion even during the Buddhist period. The Buddha was also called as the Shakya Simha, the lion of the Shakya clan. The lion capitals, the multiple lion capitals, single lion capitals have been found in a good number during the early Buddhist art, right from the Mauryan era. Even in the post-Mauryan era also, the lion has been used as the royal image to propagate the teachings of Buddha in the form of the way the lion controls the entire forest. So as the lion is also treated as the king of the forest. So here the lion affiliation as to that of Narasimha transforms the entire the concepts into a Vedic faith, and also reflecting the stories from the Puranic as well as the local myths that have been inculcated. So the early example, as we have seen in the Kodlu, now let us move on to other example from Halasi. As I mentioned, Banavasi Kadambas ruled from Banavasi. The places like Halashi, Halashi, anciently known as Palashika in Belagaum district, Khanapur Taluk, was considered as their second capital. Halashi was also a Jain center. There were many Jain monasteries. And also, recent excavations have proved that the discovery of the upsidal brick structure and also square structures possibly indicate the existence of the independent temples for the many divinities as we see in Ter and other places. So here the image of zoanthropomorphic form of Narasimha seated in Sukhasana with only two arms. So with a very simple decorative elements, you can see the Angadas. Angada are the bangle like decoration, and Hara, and where the face is exactly replicating the earlier zoomorphic example as we have seen. So there is a chronological development can also be traced in the representation of these images. So the right hand, in right hand, the god holds a round ball shaped object, which is identified as the Shalagrama. In the left hand, he doesn't have anything. Usually, the left hand will have Shankha, which will be kept on the thigh, or as it is represented like a Kati Hasta. So the seated posture is a Sukhasana, and of course, very comfortably when we tired, we can also try and sit like this. We feel comfortable and the entire body would be relaxed. So the Sukhasana posture is, it is also called Savyalalitasana. The right leg bent up and the left leg flatly kept on the floor, on the pedestal. So where God sits in a comfortable posture to bestow the devotees. So other example from a place called Nilogallu, a small village in Kushtagi Taluk of Koppal district in Karnataka, a terracotta image of almost 2 feet height. Terracotta image of almost 2 feet height found, and when it was completely covered with the lime coating, almost 1 inch thickness of the lime coating. When it was cleared, so realized that there is a terracotta image of a seated figure with a chakra in the hand, which is kept on the Padma Pitha. We can notice the pivot is also represented here. The pivot is as a bottom shaft, which will go into the installation of installation within the Pitha. So the image is in question has been identified as the Narasimha, Kevala Narasimha. So all seated images in a Shanta Mudra or Shanta Murtis can be identified either as the Kevala Narasimha or as the Girija Narasimha. So which is identical to the one of the Ahichatra image or the Gupta image of the early 4th century from the northern region of India, where a tiny terracotta figure of Narasimha you can see almost in the identical posture. But whereas the image of Nilogal appears to be highly embellished with the stylistic features, very sophisticated with the Hara, Angadas and Keyura, with Udarabandha, and here he appears to have held a conch or the Shankha in the hand. So you can also see the seated posture and also look at the feet, which is bent upwardly, and also you can see the details of the shoes. So the similar example to comparison with the example of Nilogal, here we have the seated image of Narasimha from Ramtek near Nagpur in Maharashtra, the Vidarbha region Nagpur. The image has been ascribed to the Vakataka period, and possibly might have been carved around 400 or 420-25 CE. During that period, the image appears to have been carved, and it's a life-size image, and also enshrined in a temple in Ramtek. So the typology of these type of images, keeping the chakra on the ground, is also represented in the Vishnu sculptures of the early Gupta period, where the images are resting on the ground, means the god is in a benign mood or in the Shanta mood. So there are a good number of similar examples of the Kevala Narasimha in Karnataka, a village called Kubuturu in Swarba Taluk of Shimoga district. So where the image is enshrined in a simple thatched roofed temple within the farmland. So where the deity is also have the similar features, and possibly the image must have been enshrined later in this present temple and appears to be the same. A place might have had a brick structure or the stone structure of the Kadamba period. So one can look at the features of the image, the face and the nose. One can notice the eyeballs, the jaws and nose identically represent the realistic features of the lion, and the ear, and the more interestingly, the mane, the kesharas. And right above the keshara, there will be a lotus, inverted lotus, or sometimes a fully blown lotus, which can be identified as Padma Shirsha, which is synonym with the Samyak Jnan or Kevala Jnan, or the ultimate knowledge of the Divine One. So the Padma Shirsha, there are plenty of such examples. Even the Ganesha will have a similar example on his head, and Narasimha will commonly seen in early examples of Karnataka. So we can also look at yet another example from the same region, Kuppugadde or Kuppugadde in Sorba Taluk of Shimoga district. It is enshrined in the later Chalukya temple. The temple is called Rameshwara temple, but the original image, what we see here, possibly enshrined in the some early temples, after the dilapidation or the distortion of the temple, appears to be reshifted and reinstalled in this present temple. But the typology has been followed almost in an identical manner, where the image has been carved only with the two arms. But what is the beauty of this image is one can notice the manes are spreading up to the arm and also up to the elbows. So the like a jatas, as they are greatly spread on the entire body. So this particular sculpture is in Karnataka University's Department of Ancient Indian History and Epigraphy. Thanks to the then chairman, Dr. S.V. Padigar, I documented it almost 2 decades ago when I was doing my research on early pre-Chalukya sculptures. So this image was discovered by late H.R. Raghunath Bhatt, who was also professor in the same department. I must remember with all the gratitude both the personalities to not only to preserve and also keep it in a very safe condition. So look at the representation of the face here, the treatment of the face. The more elaborate necklace, and the ornaments are very rich, very detailed in carving. The face of the lion, in somewhat it appears like that of the Hanuman, but very carefully after observation you can feel that the nose, the eyeball and the keshara or the manes look very much realistic. And here also the god holds the ball like shalagrama in the right hand. Comparably with other examples what we have seen earlier, here the god appears to be more slenderous in his physique, appears to be taller, anatomically when we look from the point of the physiognomy. Yeah. So there is the very bad habit in our culture that when image is mutilated or image is partially fractured, habit of throwing the image into the water. and Jala Samarpana, what they usually call as a Jala Samarpana. So such images are not, neither they are kept in the temple premises nor they are worshipped. Especially in the Uttara Kannada district, it appears that there are plenty of such images have been thrown into the well as well as the river. This present photograph, what you see on the screen, is near Kumta in river Aghanashini, near in river Aghanashini. A friend of mine has rescued this image with the help of the local fishermen, and the image has been lifted and then it was photographed. Almost 25 years back, this image has been rescued, and thanks to my friend Dr. H.H. Bhatt, who is a professor in Karwa, Sadashivgarh. So he did the documentation. He provided this photograph to me when I was doing my work. So here, look at the image. The image is almost life size. Image is almost life size in the with the characters as we have seen earlier, but slightly different, where what we can notice is slightly a bulged pot belly, and image holding the shalagrama in a right hand, left hand kept idle. So typology of the Kevala farm become a very predominant features in the region of the northern part of Karnataka, including Uttara Kannada and Dakshina Kannada. These two sculptures are from newly formed Udupi district. Earlier it was integral part of the Dakshina Kannada. A place called Ganganadu near Bainduru. Near Bainduru, the temple Bainduru is also an ancient settlement known for it is a Seneshwara temple built in later Chalukya Hoysala style. But these two sculptures are deep into the jungle, and where a small piece of a farming land is developed and in which a modern temple has been built, and both the sculptures are enshrined one above the other. The one which is a smaller one has been kept in the lower platform, whereas the larger one, which has been kept slightly in a raised platform. So both the images definitely belong to the Kadamba period, around 4th, 5th century CE. And you can also compare, you can also look at this particular image with that of the Basur, or the one which is kept in the Dharwad University Ancient Indian History Department. Yeah, we also have another more decorative image which has been kept in a small niche in a place called Siddhara near Karwar. Siddhara is a small village on the backwaters of river Kali, and also there is a small hillock where there are many other examples, uh, and within which there is a small niche and a very inappropriate niche in which this beautiful image has been enshrined. So the comparison with the early examples categorically demarcate that the image with the large face and also the short arms, so quite rudimentally carved, but when we look at the details of the face, they definitely appear a remarkable change in the depiction of the image. So the Yajnopavita appears for the first time. Till now, whatever the images we have seen, there is no Yajnopavita representation. And another example, which is in a living temple in a place called Saligrama, a taluka Saligrama near Udupi. So Guru Narasimha, as the image is called, Guru Narasimha with Yajnopavita or Vaijayanta like Yogapatta, and holding the conch, you can notice here, and Chakra in the Prayoga Mudra. Chakra in the Prayoga Mudra. The image was first published by late P. Gurraj Bhatt, one of the very important scholars on the coastal belt temples. So he published it as early as in 1960s. So the image, he dated it to the 6th, 7th century. It can be taken, but when we do the typological analysis of the Narasimha sculptures, one can date the sculpture to the early 6th century without any doubt. So the Guru Narasimha sculpture. And now we quickly look at some more sculpture from Chalukya region. This is the fractured image of the seated Narasimha, where it has the 4 arms. It had 4 arms. One can see from the rear side the marks of the hands in the rear side. But the image is identified as a Kevala Narasimha or Chaturbahu Narasimha, found in Mahakuta. Mahakuta is another important centers of the Badami Chalukya art, where we have the Mahakuteshwara temple and a well-known Paramabhagavata Mangalesha's Stambha Shasana was found. The pillar inscription was found. So the tradition of seated images, the tradition of the Kevala Narasimha, inherited and continued even during the early Chalukya period after the Kadambas. So the same tradition continued even in the cave number 1 at Badami. You can now imagine and also compare the earlier image with the present one. It is a relief. Possibly by 560-65, cave number 1 must have been completed. And also we can ascribe the image of this seated Narasimha to that period with Shankha, Chakra, and both the arms comfortably resting. And there is a Ardha Yoga Patta. In the Sukhasana, the Yoga Patta appears for the first time here. But it appears the image of Mahakuta also had the Yoga Patta. So now let us go to cave number 3, which is a magnum opus of the Badami Chalukya, completed in 578 CE. That is the inscription itself categorically mentioned the Kartika Purnima, on which day of the Shakavarsha Panchashateshu, that means the Shakavarsha 500, which correspond with the 578 CE, was completed the cave temple, and the Kevala Narasimha with 4 arms and fully blown lotus on the top, with the Gandharvas on the upper portion where we have Garuda. This image can be identified as Prahalada, though he is resting on the Gada, and see the nakhas, the nails. Here the animal instinct of the nakhas, the realistic features have been represented by the Chalukyan artist. So the variant of the Badami Chalukyas can be seen in different modes of the representations, but interestingly, they inherited the Kadamba element of the Saumya form, but the Badami Chalukyas were also to be the first artists and also the first dynasty to introduce the Ugra form of Narasimha in the lower Deccan. Here is the example of the earliest Ugra Narasimha, represented on the lintel right above the Sheshasana Vishnu in cave number 3, right opposite to the Narasimha, Kevala Narasimha. This image can be seen in the lintel of the cave number 3, where right below it is the seated figure of the Sheshasana Vishnu. So when we check for the examples and comparison for the chronological developments, this sculpture appears to be the earliest Ugra form of the Narasimha to be represented in Badami. So the entire southern India also, even in the Pallava region, we hardly come across any of such representations at this date. Definitely later on we have plenty of examples. Look at the way the representation, where Narasimha is killing Hiranyakashipu, putting him on his lap. Simultaneously, he is also fighting the soldiers of Hiranyakashipu. Simultaneously, he is also fighting the soldiers of Hiranyakashipu, where his arms are spread. He literally holds the neck of all the supporting soldiers and trying to keep them away from his main job, that he is supposed to vanquish Hiranyakashipu. So exactly similar replication can be seen in upper, popularly called Upper Shivalaya, which is supposed to be Vaishnava temple on the north fort of Badami, where the museum is there at Badami, the same place, and also where the rock cliff inscription and also other important monuments like Lower Shivalaya have been found. So here is the example of the combating Narasimha, and also look at the way artists try to adjust all the figures within the niche in the Deva Kosta. So the Chalukya artists highly imaginatively developed their own mode of representation, and also they exhibited them, and they continued the tradition from that of the Kadamba period and through their own period of the 200 years. There are plenty of examples that we notice, and this is from Aihole Durga temple, which can be comparable with cave number 3, Kevala standing Narsimha of the Kevala farm, but whereas the Gada etc. are missing, possibly this hand appears to have held the Gada, and Shankha is also broken here. So the tradition continued even in the later period, even up to Vijayanagara, the Kevala farm continued. Here is a small example from Mallikarjuna group of temples, popularly known as temple number 10 in Aihole, carved on a small figure of seated Narasimha. See, interestingly, the two-armed, relaxingly seated image of Narasimha with Ardha Yoga Patta, Shankha and Chakra are carved without having any kind of a hands. As if they are stationary, hands are in disappearance. So the talent of the artists and also mode of representation becomes a very important factor in the development of the Indian art. So the Chalukya artists inherited the tradition of Narasimha images from that of the Kadambas. So the Narasimha as a cult today has become widespread representation in the Karnataka, especially in the northern Karnataka. Not only he is worshipped in the form of zoomorphic or zoanthropomorphic, but also in a symbolic. Like the pillar is also worshipped in the form of Narasimha. There are traditions during the Haridasa Pantha, the pillar is installed in particular families where it has been invoked as the Narasimha and worshipped. Even Shalagrama Shilas are also invoked as a Narasimha and worshipped. Like the pillars are called usually Kambadaraya or Stamba Narasimha or Kambada Narasimha. And Shalagrama Shila as a part of the Narasimha image can be seen in Vijayanagara period, especially in a place called Kanakagiri in Gangavati Taluk, where the worshipping is still being continued, the annual fair, but the deity is known as Kanakaraya, the named after village Kanakagiri. So the cult of Narasimha, looking from the earliest to the present picture, what we see on the screen shows a linear development in its form and also in its style and also iconography. Definitely, there are much more elaborate images that we see in the post Chalukya period, especially during the time of the Kalyan Chalukya as well as that of the Hoysalas. With this note, thank you.